you, but it was absurd.
What's up guys, I'm Maroc. Today is all about mastering, and we have a custom workflow, a custom preset that I've made. You guys can download for free in the description, but this is all about mastering, and what we're gonna be doing is comparing 4 different versions of mastering. We got a custom mix, we got a single plugin mix, and we've got Landr and Emastered masters. Those are both websites, and we're gonna compare them and see how do you master a song. So we're gonna play what we have here, and we're going to do the custom master first, and then we'll dive into how we master track and what the psychology is behind that. So take a look.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd. But it took me about a year to realize you the one that made me feel so hurt. Off the edge, I'm losing track of where I'm from. Can't sit quit the program, overstress and overrun.
So that's basically the gist. This is a track I'm working on. This is one of my own songs, and we're going to be mastering this. So this is the master version. This is my custom master. In fact, what we could do is pull up a Fruity EQ2 just to see the waveform here and take a look at what it looks like with the master.
Last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.
Pretty even. I would say 3 is a little bit low, but let's hear without him.
Last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.
More here, it's a lot more boxy, it's a lot more kind of just unpolished, and then also the bass kicks way too loud, everything's uncompressed, so this master is doing a lot. So let's dive into this custom master first and what I'm doing personally. So this is what I did for the track. Now there's a psychology when you mix, you have to get it to a certain where you know what's going to happen in mastering, so that way you're not mixing a master and then you go to master on top of it and then it's just a mess, and it's over compressed and over EQ'd and everything like that. So you have to know how bad it's going to sound to finish a mix and what that final polish of a master will sound like. So that's important, and that only comes through practice. So with this mix, you know, I could have kept going, I could have maybe boosted it up a little. If we hear my raw vocals, they're pretty powerful from the get-go. Take a listen.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.
So they're really punchy, but that's with the master, and without it, take a listen.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.
Hear how it evened out, and that's the final polish we all want. So without further ado, let's get into it. We got a C6 to start off my mastering chain. This is doing some leveling out on all aspects. I'm gonna turn everything off and take a look at the reductive EQ it's doing.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.
The high end's doing a bunch of kind of compression and really taming those harsh frequencies, whereas the low end obviously is not doing that much. So that's the C6, that's leveling everything out. And the goal with that is to try to get it into a natural state to where you don't hear too many like sharp sounds, you don't hear too much airiness and whatnot. You want to get it all evened out, and that's what this is doing. Next thing we got is our 2A. This is a great compressor to use on vocals as well as mastering. This is what we're using it for, and really in this is just kind of leveling everything out, taking those peaks down. The most you would want it to hit is -1 decibels. It's really just taming those high end. So take a listen to what that sounds like.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.
Okay, it's really doing that just teeny bit of fine tune, and that's what mastering is all about. It's really specific, and it might seem like it's not important, but it's actually really just zooming in and making every little thing that much more important. So something like a decibel is actually of importance now, especially on getting that final polish. So that's what our 2A is doing. SSL Channel is next. And by the way, just to speak on that, make sure that you have that mindset, or else you can rush through mastering and screw over your days of work on your mix because you got a bad master and then you're not happy with the song. So make sure you got that in the back of your head and really spend your time on a master to finish it up. If you need to go back and work on the vocal, that's fine, but just know that. This SSL Channel, all it's doing is a little bit of what the CLA is doing here, taking a teeny bit down of compression, just kind of what I heard fit when I was monitoring through my headphones. But what we're really doing here is adding a filter at 1700 hertz. This goes all the way up to, I believe it's 20. Is it past 20? No, it's just 20. So this is cutting off the highest high end and really giving it the polish, so you don't get those sharp frequencies, you don't get too much piercy airiness, but you still have that high end. This is the tip if your mixes sound piercy, even though if you take away that high end, it's not good enough. Just add this filter here. That's it. So the last plugin we have on our channel is the L3LL multi-stereo. It's kind of a multi-band compressor mixed with a limiter and a maximizer, it's a beast. And this thing is doing -10 threshold, really nothing to the out ceiling, but we're also getting a little bit of multi-band compression on the low end, which is so dope that we can do this in one plugin and have it all fit. It's integrated super well. So this is really taking off that punchy kick that comes in way too much. So you'll see that here when I play that. Take a look.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.
Okay, so that's really, you could see, I mean, it's taking down like 3 decibels plus of that kick and really leveling it out. So that's the custom mastering chain what we have. We got the 4 plugins, and that's really what the point is what you want to hear is an even mix, a polished mix, a level mix. You want dynamics, but you also want your mix to be a good format, especially in this modern era, to be able to get played on a phone or to get played on a computer speaker, right? You want that level chunk for people to hear while still having dynamics and whatnot. So let's move on to our second option for mastering, which is just the plugin ARTG Mastering Stereo from Waves. Stereo, I keep doing that every video. Outside Wrap is the preset we started with for this. Took down the highs, changed the spread a little bit, and what that's doing is giving us kind of the same effect as our 4 plugins, but in a different way. So let's listen to what that sounds like.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd. But it took me about a year to realize.
This mix has more dynamics, but personally, I don't like how much the bass is coming in as well as my vocal. It feels like there's not enough mids, and I just don't really feel like this is the best master. And I went through a bunch. There's all sorts of presets, and you can just make it yourself as well. So that's that. We're going to move on to our next 2. I bounced all of these out. So let's go ahead and turn off our mastering chain here and listen to some online mixes. This is from Emastered, a common mastering website. I personally don't think it's that good, but it's not bad for your projects. Anyway, let's listen to see how the Emastered mix sounds.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd. But it took me about a year to realize you the one that made me feel so hurt. Off the edge, I'm
Okay, so that's way too harsh, and the bass is also way screwed up, and it's not leveled, and I would say that's not a master. And by the way, for the mastering, I did give the audio files in a lower decibel range so that it had room to bounce it up, add in frequencies, and do whatever. I didn't give it a mastered mix. So it had its fair shot at mastering. It failed because that mix sounds really bad. To me at least. Maybe you guys like the harshness of it, but I'm trying to go for a professional sounding full mix, and that's what it gave us. So let's listen to Landr. This is what I use for mastering. If I'm working on my own songs, I'll do my own mastering, but this is great for files and whatnot. Let's just hear it.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd. But it took me about a year to realize you the one that made me feel so hurt.
Okay, so that's really powerful, but it's also too powerful, and the bass, the low end is really getting just shredded, cut off, and I think compressed way too much. The mids are better, and it's not as piercy on the high end. It would definitely sound good listening on a phone, but it's not there yet. Let's listen to the ARTG mix.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.
Okay, still a little bit harsh on different frequencies. I don't think it's that full, at least as much as I want. So let's hear my custom master.
you, but it was absurd. But it took me about a year to realize.
Obviously, I mixed it, so personally after my work, I think it's best. The reason being is I feel like the bass is really bumping, but it's also tamed, which is something you don't get with these other mixes. I also feel like it's a lot more full and kind of a polished, finished, leveled out product, but it still has those dynamics, as you can see here. It really allows it to bump. So let's, the high end is something different. Let's listen to this Emastered high.
I saw you last night, thought I needed.
And then mine.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you.
You notice there's the same amount of air in the vocals, but it's not too piercy and it's not too shiny. So that's a lot of work. It comes down to the filters and also whatever the heck they're doing on Emastered, boosting the high end like crazy. Hey, I get a lot of tracks need to have that before master. In this case, it's a hard hip hop trap song. So I'll give it a little grace there. If you guys use Emastered, that's fine. It has put out good mixes and masters for me. I have this as a preset, like I said at the beginning of the video, for you guys to download, which includes this mastering chain. And what you can do when you download this is you can right click and say File, Save Mixer Track State As. That will allow you to recall all of these plugins. So when you go to mastering, you can have all of these settings bumped into your project immediately. Now, of course, you have to go in and tweak everything, but the main point is you kind of have the settings dialed in, you have the dynamics already set, then you can go and master your own product using these plugins that I have on the mastering chain. So download that preset, you can save it as a mixer track state to use on all your own projects. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this mastering tutorial. Kind of wanted to give you more of the psychology behind it and kind of why you do things rather than just here's my plugins and here's how to sound like the Kid Leroy type thing. So let me know if you guys like that type of content. Let me know any tutorial requests you guys have. Make sure join that Discord as always, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm Jack Maroc.
I saw you last night, thought I needed you, but it was absurd.